Yeah, good morning, everyone. How are you guys? Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah. Where did we stop last class with our national income determination?
I think we did not even start it.
We did, I think. Oh, we did.
Yeah, you start introduction.
Okay.
Yes, it was just a brief introduction.
All right. So we continue with it today. Uh, First of all, what we need to understand is this. Uh, what do we mean by national income or something like that? So normally in an economy, we have two.
But with it,
Please, when we are talking, can we mute our mics? If you are in online classes, just take it as a physical class. You know, you are disturbing the lecturer as well as your colleagues. Please. All right. We opted for online classes, so let's take some measures so that we won't disturb other people. Please. Okay. So when we look at the economy, we have players in the economy. And what I mean by players is we have economic agents, we have households, and these households, sometimes you can see them as consumers or buyers. Then we also have farms or producers. Then we also have the government. So these are the economic agents in the economy. We are trying to develop our model of national income model. These are economic agents. So they are the players in the economy. So when we have this, the total income, when we say national income, we are talking about the GDP of a country. We all know what GDP means. That's gross domestic product. If you could remember your principles of economics. So normally we represent GDP with what Y. And when we talked about national income, it will be clear to you very shortly what do we mean by national income. So for example, these are the players we have in the economy. So sometimes we will make a lot of assumption. So if you looked at this, the national income, it's nothing but the total income that households and farms earn. So normally the national income of a country, it's this. So but this income, we use it for different purposes. It is used for what? Consumption. It is also used for what? Investment. And sometimes also this government, that's the sector, it normally impose taxes. And that's taxes it uses to what? To buy goods and services. So this G represent government. That is government consumption and expenditure. And also sometimes the economy also interact with the rest of the world. So that's why we will have also export and import. So the X there is the export and the M there is the import. So plus export minus import. So the national income of a country, this is the total income that a country earns. It's used for what? It's used for consumption. So the total income, this Y is GDP or national income. So the national income a country and is used for consumption some part is used for consumption, some part is used for what? Investment by farms. So some part is used by government. Government, so when we said government, so we can say that this is the income. Why is income or national income? But this component, the other side of the equation, we just call it expenditure. The expenditure side. So what this equation is telling you is that national income should be equals to total expenditure. So what is telling you at individual level, your income should be equals to your expenditure. This is the meaning. So some part of this income is used by the government as what? Government spending. The spending by the government. And the spending by the government can be the hospitals they build, the schools they build, and the wages and salaries they pay to the government workers. So export is what? Is the goods and services we, foreigners buy from us. So export is goods and services foreigners buy from us. It increases our total expenditure. So we have import, that is the goods and services we buy from the foreigners. So this is the national income formula that we will use a lot. So the national income that we have is used for what? Consumption. It's used for investment. It's also used for what? Government spending, as well as the difference between export and import. So this is the fully fledged formula. This is the fully fledged formula. So if we have this in some model, this is the full model, complete model. But from this complete model, we can make some assumptions. So we can assume that this is zero, meaning that the country doesn't trade with any country, you understand? So if we assume that X, this is zero, what we are saying is that Y will be Y equals to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure. So this component here, that is export minus import, when we say is zero, what we are saying literally is this, that this country, they do not trade with any other country. They don't have any trade with any other country. So we will have a simplified model. So this is a fully complete model, but we can also have another model like this. So when you see consumption plus investment plus government expenditure without this export minus import, what it is telling you that this country does not engage in international trade, meaning they do not engage with any other country for trades in goods and services or any other trades. So the international trade in this economy is zero. So that's why this one will go off. But the model can also be reduced further. We can even take G from it. So this, you can come across with a model whereby you don't have export and import, but you can also come across with a model whereby the G is not there. So now that we can have, this is the complete model, consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus export minus import. So the export and this is telling you that it's about what? International trade. The country engage in international trade. So this G is representing the government sector. So sometimes we will have a model also whereby the international trade will be absent, but the government also sector will be absent. So if the government and international trade sector is absent, what we will have, the model that we will have, it will be consumption plus investment. So if you see a model like this, what it is telling you is that there is no government activities in that economy, meaning that the government doesn't tax. There is no government expenditure, there is no government taxation. So if you see this kind of model, consumption plus investment, without G, it is telling you that there is no government activity, or there is no government activities. And what do I mean by that? Taxation. There is no government taxation, and there is no government spending. So these are simple, like this one is a simplified model. This also is a simplified model. But this is to have a fully fledged model, you must have consumption, investment, government expenditure, and the net export. That is the export minus import. So this is some of the models that you will deal with, you understand? So we have a fully fledged model. I'm trying to emphasize this so that when you see different version of income, national income model, you won't be confused. So this is the fully fledged model, the first one. But sometimes you can have a model like this, consumption plus investment plus G, without this one. So this is a simplified model, and it's telling you that there is no international trade in this economy. You can also have a model like this, consumption plus investment. So this is telling you that there is no government activities, meaning that there is no government spending and taxation in the economy. So these are the type of model that we will use to find our equilibrium national income and equilibrium level of consumption as well. So now we have this different version of national income model. We have them. So let's assume that, let's start with the simplest one. We will look at this, then we will look at this. So for this one, we won't look at this, but this, the second and the third model, we will look at it. We will start from here. That's the simplest one. Then from there, we will introduce government sector, whereby taxation and government spending will come into the picture. If you have a question, do you have any question? If you have a question, you can ask before we do some examples. Okay, silence.
Mr. Ture,
Yes.
is there any case that there will be no consumption but investment and government expenditure plus the X minus M?
So okay, it's a possibility. Theoretically, we can do anything. That's possible. But, you know, if there is no consumption, what does that tells you? Like, for example, I think this is what we are talking about. Now we have Y equals to investment plus G, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is telling you that, okay, if we look at our fully fledged model, which is this, consumption plus investment plus government expenditure plus the foreign sector, you understand? That is export minus import. So we use this, you assume that this is not there, meaning that there is no international trade, But you also remove the consumption there. If you remove the consumption there, what are you trying to tell us? Can you answer that? Why? You are telling us that the consumers or the household, they don't have any role in the economy. So it's possible, theoretically it's possible. This can come, it's possible, it's 100% possible. But it's not only about removing this. When you remove it, you have to know the interpretation, the economic interpretation of it. What does it mean, removing the C there? It is telling you, because this consumption is representing the households or the consumers. So you are saying that there is no consumption or household activity happening in that economy. It's possible. Theoretically, it's possible. There could be a question on it. It's possible. But if I give you this, I can even tell you that, you know, interpret this model. So you are telling us that it's only the government and the producers or the farms that are having activities in this economy. So you are telling us the national income, which we defined last class, that it means the income that households received. You understand? The income that the households and the farms received. You understand? It's used for what? Investment and government expenditure for this particular case. So there's a possibility. There's a possibility we also have this theoretically. Government and this, but this part, international trade, we will not look at it in this class. So normally what we have most often is that you have the how to call it, you have government expenditure being absent. That's what we will look at here. But what you ask is perfectly possible. So now we will look at this one, the third one and the second one. These are the two models we will look in this class. Because if we want to look at the fully fledged model, it will take us to something like exchange rate movement and something like that, which I think most of you haven't seen that yet. So we will look at this. These are the two models we will particularly focus on, this one and this one. But it's important we know that the fully fledged model is this one. So let's go on. So we have this. Let's look at the simplest model, which equals to consumption plus investment. And we assume that there is no government sector. So here, this is the model we have, that is the in equilibrium. So in equilibrium, this is also an equilibrium condition. So in equilibrium, what we are saying, Y represent what? The income, that is the national income. And these two things, they represent what? The expenditure. So we are telling you that in equilibrium, in the good market, the income, which is Y, should be equals to the total expenditure. And the total expenditure here is what? The consumption and the investment. Remember, there is no G here. We are assuming that there is no government activities in this economy for this model. Remember, this is, we can even call it model 1. So we are assuming that there is no government activities. That is, there is no government spending and taxation in this economy. So the G that we normally have now is 0. So that's why we haven't written it there. So if that is the case, we have our this model. So the other assumption that we are going to make here is this, that investment is fixed. So we will have a star on it. So meaning that is determined. So investment will just have a fixed number. Every question, if you are solving a question, they will give you investment is either equals to 40, you understand? But the consumption here, we have to define it. So investment is fixed. That's why we will have a star on it, meaning that the value will be given to us. But the consumption here, we have to define it. And how do we define consumption? This is it. So consumption here, the formula for it is what? A coefficient times the income, that is this national income, then plus the B. So here, this is our national income model. We said in equilibrium, the Y that we have, the income that we have, we use it for what? Consumption and investment. So we have to define what consumption means. And consumption here, we said that is A times Y, which is this national income, then plus B. So let's look at this model further. We have Y equals to consumption plus investment. And it tells us that consumption, so we need to know what does this consumption mean. And we define it as what? A times Y plus B. So, but what about the investment? We have to define it. So we define investment as what? It's constant. So meaning that investment, the value will be given to you. It could be 60, it could be 70, but it will be given to you in the question. So this is the simplest national income model. This is the simplest national income model that you can come across. So how do we solve this? This is what is our challenge now. Simple national income is the simplest model. So we can even call it as model 1. So the question now is, this is what will be given. This is a general form. So the question is now, we have to find equilibrium, national income, and consumption. So always the question will ask you the tax. Or what you will be asked to do is to find what? Find the, so if this model is given to you, they will ask you to find the equilibrium, national income. And also they will ask you or tax you to find what? Equilibrium consumption. So let's be taking note as well. And consumption. So we are taxed to find two things. And let me break it down for you. First, they ask us to find what? What is the equilibrium national income? So we go step by step, national income. So they want us to find this. That is Y star. That is the equilibrium national income. The two parts, the second question is what? To find equilibrium consumption. Star. So now, this is our model. We said Y is equals to consumption plus investment. Now we define this Y here. So we define this C. Okay, so we define this C here. Then what we are going to do to solve this, because this is the equilibrium position, to find this equilibrium national income and equilibrium consumption, we have to substitute. We will substitute this value of consumption here. Then we find this. This is what they are asking us to do. So now we have this Y equals to, now we are doing the solution, Y equals to C plus I. And we know that our consumption is what? A times Y plus B. So this is, we will substitute this here. Yes? Yeah.
Can you go back to what we are going to find? For the first, I think you said equilibrium. Sorry, I got you wrote the equilibrium consumption.
Yeah, we have. Your line is breaking. I'm not getting you very well, quite well. I don't know if you can repeat your question again, or you even send it to the chat box. But try it again. Maybe it will be better this time around.
Okay. I've seen what I want.
Sorry?
I said I've seen what I want.
Okay, all right, good. So this is the question. Remember, this is what we are finding: equilibrium national income and equilibrium consumption as well. So this is the first thing, and this is the second question. So now the first question is what we are tackling now. That is equilibrium national income. So first, what you have to do, you have to substitute this back to your equilibrium condition, which is this. So if we do that, what we will have.
Mr. Toure.
Yes.
Like this, you know, you said like C, that's the consumption, like C equals to AY plus B. Is this formula is a constant one, or you import it or somewhere?
No, this, what we are doing, we are looking at a, how to call it, a general formula situation, but we will also take a practical example whereby this B will be substituted by maybe 0.4, then you have Y, then plus 6. You understand?
Okay.
But this is a general case. The way we solve mathematics, first you have to look at a general case, then you go for a specific case. That's the example where you have a numerical values.
Okay.
But the first step is to build the intuition, and you can only build intuition with letters. So this consumption, this is a consumption function. I think last class we have even seen it, how we can draw consumption function. I don't know whether I'm right. Okay, so we substitute to this. We will take a practical example whereby.
Excuse me, I have a question to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, you said the question, they will give you an investment. They will give you a figure for it. That is the investment, right?
Yes.
Consumption is not going to be given to you, right?
No, consumption, this is the function that the consumption will be defined to you. It will be given to you, like, let's, for example,
Yeah, I know.
like this. it could be like this: consumption equals to 0.4 y
Oh,
plus 6. This is what you need for you to solve that problem. But investment will
so
be like, they will say investment equals to 40.
okay, that's 0.5. Is it going to be on the question itself?
Yeah, it's going to be given to you.
Okay, that's what I want to understand.
All
Thank
right,
you.
okay. We will, in fact, let's just try to follow this. We will take a practical example, which whereby most of your questions will be answered. I was a student before, so I know most of these questions. But let's follow this, then we will do another a practical example whereby we will have numbers. Okay, so let's continue. But normally, when you are building intuition, we have to do it with a general case, not a specific case, which normally students prefer specific case. Okay, so we substitute this into here. So it will give us y equals, so we have c, and we say c is what? A times y plus b, then plus our investment. So we know that we have constants here as well as variables, and our variables here is what? The c, sorry, the y, and this y. So what we will do, we will change, we will transfer this to this side of the equation. Can please, some people, you mute your mic, you are disturbing the class. When we are taking online course, we should be in a place whereby there are no kids there or, noise. If the disturbance continue, we will just we will just transfer this to, how to call it, a physical class. Okay. So we continue with this. So we will transfer this to the other side of the equation. So we will have y, with this y, then this will come here. The sign is plus, it will change to minus. A y equals to b plus investment. So there is a y here, there is a y here, we can factor it. So the common factor there is y. It comes from if we can factor y, so this will give us 1 minus a, which equals to b plus investment. So remember, the goal here is to find equilibrium national income. So all what we need to do to have this, which is this will be our equilibrium national income. We continue here. We divide both sides by 1 minus a. So here our equilibrium national income will be what? B plus investment all over 1 minus a. But equally, we can also say our national income is equals to 1 over 1 minus a, then we have b plus investment. So this 1 over 1 minus a, it has a very significant interpretation in economics, which we are going to look. We have this equals to b plus investment over 1 minus a. So equally, we can write it as also 1 over 1 minus a in bracket b plus investment. So as I said, this thing, we call it what? Expenditure multiplier in economics. So what does this expenditure multiplier means? It means that if income increased, you understand? If income increased by one unit, then expenditure will increase by 1 over 1 minus a. But we are going to see a practical example, under this. So what this means, how much it measures so what it measures how much expenditure. It measures how much expenditure will change due to change in one unit of income. So this is expenditure multiplier. So now we have this. So this is our what? This is our first question, that is equilibrium national income. But remember, we have to find two questions. What about the equilibrium consumptions? So the next one is to find the equilibrium consumptions. And to do that, first, you need to restate or write your consumption function, which we have this. But what we are finding now is that equilibrium consumption function with a star. So it has to be equilibrium national income, then plus B. And we know that the equilibrium national income, we had what? 1 over 1 minus A times B plus investment. So we are going to substitute this into this. So when we do that, then we will have our equilibrium consumption level, which will give us A times what? We have A times the equilibrium national income, which is this, which is 1 over 1 minus A. Then we have this B plus investment. So this is the question 2. So this is a general general formula. So our next exam, we will take an example whereby we will have numbers, but it's important that we have this intuition. First, what we are trying to do here, we have a model was given to us. This is the model, and that is the equilibrium level in good market. So then we have consumption and investment. They define what consumption is for us, and they assume that investment is fixed. That's why they didn't say much about it. So they asked us to find two things, that is equilibrium national income and equilibrium consumption. So all what you do, first you have to substitute the consumption into this, which we did here. Then we find the value of Y. That's how we came. We find Y here. And we came across a concept called expenditure multiplier. And what is an expenditure multiplier? I explained to you here. It's important. We have to know it. Expenditure, which is this, that is 1 minus 1 over A, is the expenditure multiplier. And what does it mean? It just measures if income increased by 1 unit, it tells us how much the expenditure, that is consumption and investment, how much they will change. So this is what we mean by national income model, and this is how we solve it. But we take a simple version of it. This is the first one we look. So we will take a practical example and look at, instead of these letters like A or B, we will replace them with numbers and see how they will make even more sense to us. Is there any question before we take one practical example?
Mr. Ture,
Yes.
can you just go back to the formula for the equilibrium
Which
consumption? I just want to, the last one, the equilibrium consumption. I just want to copy it.
Okay.
And you can move on. Yeah. Yes, please.
So sometimes I might not give letters to, I might not give numbers because, you know, like I can only give you these models like this, and I ask you to find. You understand? The equilibrium national income and equilibrium consumption is possible.
Mr. Ture, I still don't understand.
Okay, some people say they still don't understand. We move ahead. We will do a practical example. Probably that might answer some of your questions. So, but if you say you don't understand, where did you don't, which area you did not understand? The time, we don't have much
Mr.
time.
Ture,
Okay.
can you please go back to the consumption, equilibrium consumption, please? I want to copy.
Let's make it fast. Soon it will go off the time. Someone asked, he did not understand. We are about to do a practical example that might answer some of your questions. So let's do that and see whether it will answer your question.
I'm done, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Ture, this consumption formula, I thought you said C is equals to AY plus B, right?
Yes, that's true.
And Y, yes, Y is equals to 1 over A into B plus I. Okay.
Yes.
So what of the B plus B? Shouldn't there be plus B?
Where?
That of the C equilibrium consumption.
Okay, we have, this is the formula, right? You mean?
Yes.
So we have A times Y. Y is given to us. So
yes,
we skip this
plus
B. So this B should be here. You're right. This should be here.
Okay. Yes.
So we have this B here. So because what we did, we only took this one. So I ignored to write, not ignored, but forgot to write this. So you should add B there, as he said. But we are about to do a practical example that I think will reinforce what we have done so far. But there is also a possibility that a model in general form like this will be given to you to solve it. So when you have this model and they ask you to find equilibrium, national income and consumption, it's very simple. You just substitute C for consumption. When you find the equilibrium national income, then that you use it and substitute it in the consumption function. You are done. But we are going to do a lot of examples. You might come back to this again. In case you don't understand, it's okay. Don't be worried. So let's wait. I think the 10 minutes will soon finish. Then we can start doing some practical examples. So it's very simple. This was the model that was given to you, consumption plus investment.